Hello, everyone. Today I'm sharing with you how outsourced design can collaborate with operations, using data to guide image revisions to avoid internal friction. This is where many outsourcing teams most easily fall into internal friction after a project enters the more iterative optimization phase. Because the reality is often, operations says, the data is bad, it needs to be changed. Designer asks, what needs to be changed? Operations says, it doesn't feel appealing enough. Designer starts, completely scrapped and started over. The result is, the data hasn't changed, the images are tiring to revise, and everyone is frustrated. You might think it's a communication problem, but the truth is, it's not a lack of collaboration, but rather, not using the data correctly. First, the conclusion. Data is not used to prove who is right and who is wrong. Many collaboration failures start with one sentence. The data is bad, the designer should take the blame. But a mature collaboration approach is, data only does one thing, tells you which step went wrong, instead of, your image is no good. 2. Why does image modification without data inevitably lead to internal friction? Because without data, image modification relies on only three things: feeling, experience, and emotion. And when these three are mixed together, it becomes changing the style today, changing the selling point tomorrow, overhauling the structure the day after. Every modification is a new gamble. 3. What design and operations should truly align on is not how to modify, but where to modify. This is the core of collaboration. Operations excel not at instructing designers on what to draw, but at identifying where the problem occurs. And designers excel not at looking at the data itself, but at translating the problem into visual adjustments. IV. Use data to guide image modification. First, break it down into three key metrics. No need for complex reports, just focus on these three. First type of data, click-through rate, to see if it blocks people. If the click-through rate is low, it means the problem is immediately apparent. The issue is most likely not aesthetics, but rather unclear selling points. Too many key points. Users don't know what you're selling. In this case, the direction for revising the image should be focus on the selling point, strengthen the single point of view, reduce information density, not make it more flashy. Second type of data, dwell, browse depth. See, does it keep users engaged? Clicks are okay, but users leave quickly, indicating a problem in the middle section of the image. Common reasons, disorganized structure. Information order goes against human nature. User questions are not addressed. In this case, the designer should adjust information order logic of the first few screens, whether key questions are answered in advance. Not changing the style, but changing the order. Third type of data, conversion rate. See, does it hinder the final step? Clicks and dwell time are good, but users still don't place an order, indicating a problem at the point of hesitation. At this point, the common problems are difficulty in choosing specifications, risks not eliminated, too much information slows down decision-making. Design optimization should focus on subtraction, clarifying comparisons, providing clear guidance for selection instead of adding another selling point. V. A collaborative process for Operations X design. Without internal friction, you can follow this process directly. Step 1. Operations first defines the problem range, not a solution. For example, saying, this image is no good, change it. The click-through rate is lower than similar products. The problem might be immediately apparent. This is identifying the problem level, not instructing the design team. Step 2. Design provides actionable assumptions. The design team should respond with, if it's an immediately apparent problem, I plan to adjust A, B, C like this. This translates data into design actions. Step 3. Validate with minor changes, not a complete overhaul. Validate only one variable at a time. Number of selling points. Information order comparison method. Don't do a complete redo, only do targeted validation. Step 4. Review. Which type of change was effective? Don't worry about whether it looks good or not, only ask, which change helped the data? Make this conclusion the default rule for the next time. Why is using data to modify charts easier? Because it solves 3 things. There's a reason for modifying the chart. Changes have boundaries. Judgment has standards. When everyone is discussing, which data does this change account for? Instead of, I think, you think, internal friction will naturally disappear. 7. A particularly important reminder. Don't let designers directly draw conclusions from the data. Data design solution. Operations is responsible for determining where exactly is the problem occurring. Design is responsible for determining how should the visuals be adjusted at this stage. Once these roles are confused, collaboration will spiral out of control. A word of truth for those struggling with data-driven visual changes. Data is not a shackle, but a tool for mitigating damage. When you use data to limit the scope of modifications, instead of amplifying anxiety, design will become increasingly stable. In short, for outsourced designers to collaborate effectively and avoid internal friction with operations, the key is not to constantly monitor data, but rather, use data to pinpoint the problem's level. Allow designers to only make necessary changes, verify changes with small tweaks instead of scrapping everything. When data begins to serve judgment, instead of being a scapegoat for emotions, design and operations will truly be on the same page.